The local performing arts community is growing by leaps and bounds. Recently, we spoke with the organization Connect to Culture and found out the Cornell Performing Arts Complex should open this summer. Joining me today on Newsmakers is Heather Briley, owner of the Briley Performing Arts Company, to continue the discussion about the importance of performing arts.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So I read that your organization is one of the only in the area to provide a complete, comprehensive performing arts curriculum. So talk about the Briley Performing Arts Center and how you got started.
Well, we started in 2012. We moved to a new location here in Joplin, Missouri. We'd previously been with another studio in Webb City and moved in, and we decided at that point in time to be a full performing arts program. So we offer musical theater, Broadway jazz, voice, and piano, along with the regular classes of ballet, tap, jazz, point, contemporary, things like that.
Mm-hmm. And talk about your background. You have a theater and arts background, and you went here to Southern.
I did. I was a theater major here at Southern, and then went on to started teaching dance in 2002. Wow. With Pinocchio in Webb City, and then we opened Briley Performing Arts in 2006, moved to the new location in 2012, and then just recently purchased a new location in 2021, what it was, yes.
Yeah, so, at the end of last year?
Yeah.
And you just opened this?
Just opened,
right?
Yeah.
And talk about the need for, to expand and the move.
Well, it's really interesting because you need a lot of room these days to fill that space in. And so we decided that we needed to get a home base, that we could create a campus where we can build sets for our musical theater performances, and we have the opportunity to expand into some bigger projects to do later in the future. So yeah, and not just recitals, but we want to do full-fledged performing arts performances.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so how big were you and how big are you now?
Well, we're about the same right now. At one point in time, we had over 300 students. Oh. And then with COVID-related issues and things like that, our numbers have gone down, but they're steadily going up. And we are creating seems like every week we have a new meeting about, we have a new need. How do we fit that? How do we create that into our curriculums?
And what about your square footage? Like, how big did you
get? We had 4,500 square feet, and we probably only 2,000 of that was dance studio. Okay. We have 8,000 square feet now, where 6,500 of it is performing arts space.
Wow.
Yeah, so we are heavy in studios. We are 205 East Fountain Road, right over here in Webb City, just about a mile and a half from here.
That's like down Duquesne, out by the industrial park area.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
That region. Okay. Mm-hmm. So what other classes do you teach? You said.
Well, we have ballet for all ages. We ballet, tap, and jazz, just your basic combination classes. We also specialize in hip hop and contemporary jazz and ballet. And we do a lot of, like I said, musical theater productions. We do have a local swing dance group that comes through from time to time, and they will use our space to dance there too. So we're pretty versatile in all of those areas.
That sounds so much fun. And you do theater workshops, is that correct?
Yes, we do. We do theater workshops along with dance workshops, and we do summer intensives. We do quick little 3-week intensives where the kids come for several hours, 3 or 4 days a week, and try to bulk up on the curriculum development.
Okay.
For our fall program, and that's mostly our competitive dance team that takes advantage of that.
Oh yeah, talk about that. You travel? Is it?
Oh my goodness!
What do you do?
We're starting next weekend, and it's the most wonderful thing that has happened to me as an instructor. I'm able to get my dancers to different cities, from Tulsa to Springfield to Kansas City, and meet with professional dancers and professional instructors from across the country, ones that we know from television and theater, and they get the opportunity to work with these people and perform for them and get feedback on how they, and it's amazing. Wow. It's so beneficial for the kids, and we've been pretty successful at it. It took this is our 9th year, and it took a couple years to figure out how to play that game.
Sure.
And then once we figured it out, we've gotten we've gotten steadily better, and we've had the last 2 seasons have been just tremendous. So we're really excited to get started.
So do they compete against other dance troupes, or how does that work?
Yes, they compete against dancers within our own company and also other studios. So like we may have, for example, we went to one just a few weeks ago in Kansas City, and we competed against dance studios from Indianapolis, from Dallas, from Kentucky. So they were just from all over the country that flew in. So we compete, and then some of the local ones we compete against our friends and neighbors from our neighboring cities. So
how about that?
Yeah.
And so do they win? Is it like a money thing, a monetary win, or is it trophies?
It can be either way. It's trophies or medals, and a lot of times we win scholarships. So it's money toward the next event.
Oh, I gotcha.
So that way, and that helps the parents out too, because these things can get a little expensive in competitive dance, but it's completely worth it as far as what the girls get out of it. And it's not just about dance; it's about being 8 years old and dancing in front of 250 people.
Wow.
By yourself on stage. I mean, what normal kid wants to do that? Well, these are really special kids that do. So,
gosh, they have to have a personality to.
Oh,
be able to perform.
absolutely, yes. That's why I said I like a dancer with some moxie.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, and you see so many kids these days doing dances on TikTok and Instagram and things like that. The reels on Instagram, and so I mean, I bet a lot of people probably see these kids that they don't even realize. Yes, and it's a really fun way to meet these professionals and then follow them on social media, and you can actually have some kind of relationship with them professionally. And it's just a neat connection, and they feel like, there are times that they feel like they are with a rock star. It's very fun for them. What an ego
and kind of for me too.
Yeah. Right? So talk about why it's so important, especially these days with so much, electronics in the way of like kids being sedentary and video games, why it's so important for them to get involved with. Well, what we're finding, especially in our, I'm going to take this a little bit different direction here. Starting with pre-K, what we're finding is they're spending a lot more time in front of screens and not as much time out on the playground or teeter-totter, swings, bicycles, swimming, any of that. Anything that develops cross-lateral brain skills, which is basically balance, crossing right over left, any kind of like the hand, like little jive games and all of that stuff. They're really not doing those anymore. Now they are a little bit more sophisticated than they used to be as far as communicating, as far as is this worth my energy type of thought process. But what we're finding is that they're having a hard time retaining choreography when they're still trying to figure out how to balance. Oh, I gotcha. So we added what we call a brain connections class in with our pre-K program. And what that does is it helps. It's just like, really, it's hula hooping and ball bouncing and tumbling and jump roping and all kinds of fun singing finger games to help them develop that cross-lateral brain function that will allow them then to retain choreography. I get it. And so that's why just, playing like patty cake, if you will. Right. Why that matters to dancing. It does. It all does. And math and piano come from the same part of the brain as does dance and balance. So if you can get a kid in, let's say, a soccer program or a basketball program at an early age, and they're using their right to their left, you automatically have a better student in school because their brain connections are already happening. That's incredible. Yeah. And I saw some of your videos on YouTube, and I was wondering what that connection meant. Well, during COVID, we had to come up with a creative way to keep our audience and our customers stimulated and connected. So we came up with a lot of at-home activities that they could do in their living room. And some of that were like the little hand singing games, and some of it were just basically, tumbling, how to use an ottoman to do a back walkover. And skipping. Skipping's huge. Yeah. Chasse or a gallop. I mean, all of that is a balancing on one foot. And then there's a lot of kindergarten readiness because you have to know where your wrist and your ankle are. You have to be able to jump off 18 inches. You have to be able to balance on one foot. So all of those things are ingrained in our pre-K dance program. I had no idea. Yeah. That's incredible. And so I guess for kids, the struggle with body image. I saw some of the videos, and there were all sizes, shapes, genders. There's no limits. No limits. Anybody can dance. Anybody who can develop muscle and who can be strong, we can have you in a dance class. We have children with
developmental disabilities. We have dancers with CP in the studio that are doing things that they shouldn't be doing because they've been doing it since they were little.
Wow.
And it's remarkable, and we are having a great time learning and growing with these children with different needs, and we're having a great time with that, trying to figure out how to best stimulate and then present a child so that child feels successful, because that's really what it's about.
Yeah.
It's about their self-esteem and about them getting up there and going, look what I can do.
Well, and kids do struggle, especially with social media, body image issues.
Oh,
and dance, it's for everyone.
It is. It is for everyone, and like I said, it's about strength and it's about artistry, and you're finding a lot more comfortableness with body image for some of them. I mean, some of them still, it is still a dance program, and it's still, but a lot of kids find comfort in the fact that they can get up and do a really fantastic hip hop dance, and they don't feel uncomfortable doing ballet. And a lot of times what we'll find is the hip hop dancers will come in with that in mind, like, I don't want to get too committed. And then a year in, they're like, can I take that class? We're like, yep, come on in.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Well, and I guess someone with this type of experience, it's repetitive motion, it's exercise, and those body image issues, those can just go away because your body changes as you grow. And when you can do all this stuff, it just seems so...
And what we'll see, the interesting part is, of course, with puberty, what we see is in little kids, they look in the mirror and they're like, I'm amazing. Do you see me? And then about 11, they're like, oh, what's happening? And so we have to really work hard on getting that technique in with them early, and how to hold your body. Because when you hold your body a certain way, all those things that you're uncomfortable with sort of melt away.
Sure.
And those lines are there, and the strength is there in your body, each muscle supporting the other. So you find that you feel a lot stronger than your image is in the mirror. So we can kind of fool ourselves that way.
Well, and the funny thing, when I was a teenager, I was rail thin, and I always thought I was fat.
Oh, yeah.
All my friends were skinny and I was fat, but we were all the same size, honestly.
Yes, and that happens. And now we have all variations of size, and we're seeing in a contemporary dancer a very muscular, very athletic body, and muscles are great, and we encourage that in our girls to make sure that they're strong everywhere.
Athletes are all sizes.
And what we did back when we were dancing or doing activity is nothing compared to what they do now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know the training that I provide my dancers now, I've had to learn as I've experienced it, because it just wasn't there. We weren't expected to do 6 pirouettes.
Right.
2, and you're like, man, you're ready for Broadway. But here, but here it's just a little different, and there's all kinds. Acrobatics are big in dance right now, so we have a lot of acro dance classes that pull the dancers in for gymnastics and things, and hip hop uses a lot of that as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and about how big is a class?
Well, they range. If you're in, we have one studio that's fairly large. That's almost 3,000 square feet. So we have about 15 to 16 dancers in one of those classes. And then we have 2 other medium-sized studios, or one of the studios can actually be divided in half, so it makes 2 small ones. So we average about 12 dancers, depending on the age. If the younger they are, the smaller the class.
Sure.
So, because it's hard to manage and make sure that they, you get your bang for your buck, right?
Right.
Yeah. And so, but in my classes I teach in the big room, I have the most I have right now is 15.
Okay.
But when we get our competitive team together, which is 55 dancers, we can get them all in that room together.
Wow.
And work. So it's really, it's really fun.
It's pretty fun.
Oh, it's very fun.
I'm going to have to come and watch.
Yes. Oh, anytime. Yeah.
So what can someone with this type of experience do, with a career, besides the obvious, I want to be a movie star? What other types of careers can dance and theater lead to, Branson and Disney?
Right. Well, what's interesting is I actually have several, I've got people I've worked with in the past, not necessarily my students as a studio student, but a lot of my contemporaries who work professionally, who we worked with together as our cute people in our 20s. And then, yeah, and then now I currently have a teacher who's my pre-K teacher. She was actually my student, and then she graduated, went to Disney, and she was a Disney princess, and then opened Shanghai with them, and was there for, I think, 2 years, and was with them. So now she's back, and she's a mom, and she's working at the studio. And I have several of my students that are teachers now.
Wow.
So I'm at that age in the progression of the business where I can have those girls come back in and start teaching for me while they're in college. So it's really, I get to hang on to them a little bit longer.
That's so cool. I mean, it's just the importance of being a teacher, honestly.
Oh, I'm telling you, it's
impression.
It's the best job in the world. I've had most of these girls I've had since they were 3. And they're now, some of them are 18 and 19 and 20. I had one come in at our open house a few weeks ago with a baby. Wow. So it's my first grand dancer baby. Yeah, because it is a wonderful and unique position to be in the front row of the audience to watch these beautiful children grow. It's amazing.
And you just glow when you talk about them.
It's my favorite part. Yeah, it's amazing.
So fun. Well, and your daughter dances.
She does.
And cheers.
Yes.
So, I mean, she's got good
genetics. She's a dancer. Yeah. She's not a cheerleader. They have a dance team and cheer team. We have to make sure those are separate.
Sure,
they get very.
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, she does, and she's been dancing since in the womb. I was pregnant with her when I started teaching. So she's auditioned and is continuing to audition for colleges.
Oh,
and,
nice.
And intends to pursue professional dance.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I mean, and doing dance and theater at that age, that does lead to not only professional careers but college, right?
It does,
and scholarships
and it's confidence. It's confidence in an interview for a job. I tell them this is not just about you getting on stage and winning first place. This is about you getting on stage and doing something so brave that most people wouldn't do. And when you get to that interview, when you're 22 years old and fresh out of college, and you're thinking, you know what? I was on stage in front of 250 people. I can do this.
For sure.
Yeah. So it's amazing what confidence growth happens in a competitive dancer.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, and so how many employees do you have?
Well, I have 11. I have 9 instructors and choreographers. I have 2 people that are just support staff, and of course, and then myself. And we range in age and abilities and education and different degrees. And not everybody has their education in dance, but I do have one of my teachers, Phyllis. She's been a teacher for many years, worked professionally. She has her bachelor's in ballet.
Wow.
From KU. I'm sorry, K-State. Oh, sorry, K-State. And
you're in trouble.
yeah, I am. And I've got another one who's got her bachelor's in business, and I've then myself I've got certifications in different tap and dance, ballet, tap, jazz, and the relative motion, sort of a muscle connectivity. Thing. So.
And how do you stay relevant with all of the TikToks and all of the everything? How do you keep that? There are the basics they have to learn, but they also probably want to learn the other fun stuff.
It is interesting. We talk about that with our contemporaries when we go to these conventions. They have places for teachers to go and talk about our feelings, and we talk about how best to keep the energy. They love the TikToks, but they're not necessarily big enough to do on stage. So how to keep those things relevant, luckily, we have thousands of years, I'll say, of movement from human beings to grow from. And we have the most wonderful foundation in history of dance, especially in the United States, of jazz being our own style of dance. We have this fantastic base to just create upon. So we don't have to start from scratch ever.
Right.
We just keep adding and flowering and knowing eventually this will fade out and this will come back. But technique it's like spelling vocabulary words. It's never wrong. You always go back to that. Yeah.
Well, so how tough was it through the pandemic? I mean, you had to close probably like everybody else.
It was a little scary. It was a little scary because we didn't know how long we would be closed. And a business like this is a very expensive business to be in because you're constantly putting money toward the next project. So all of that had to come to a halt. We had to cancel a lot of things, and so all of that got a little. And then people were like, "I don't know what to do," so they dropped, and so we were really only closed for 4 weeks.
Oh, okay.
And then school was canceled, so we switched to an online and social distanced classes from 8 in the morning till 9 at night.
Wow.
And I just went in and I worked those 12 or 13 hours Monday through Thursday, and we had classes all day long.
Well, and when people are sitting at home bored, you're not one of them.
Right. Oh, no. Yeah. Oh, I'd like to be. Yeah. I loved the snow the other day, by the way. That was
There
great.
you go.
Yeah.
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 So what is about the cost range? You know, some parents like horse riding lessons.
Sure.
They're thinking, what will I ever do with that?
Sure.
But I mean, dance is like you could do anything with it.
It depends. Like if the pre-Ks are a 45-minute class a week, and that's $45.
Oh, gotcha.
And then we have a going all the way up to the competitive dancer who takes between 3 and 6 hours a week, and then the costs of competition.
Sure.
So that can get fairly pricey. But I would say our average dancer takes 2 classes, and that runs a family about $100 a month.
Oh yeah, that's super cheap. So worth it.
So worth it. And then we have performances in December and performances in the springtime as well. And then we do all of our fun summer clinics and stuff in the summer. So.
Do you guys? You're a private company, so you have fundraisers. Do they do things like that for like costumes and trips? And
We have not. It is a lot to coordinate.
Sure.
And we have not had to do that yet. We had discussed. We had won a trip to New York City the summer of COVID, and we'd won a scholarship to go with a dance competition to New York City to take those who were interested from the team. And we were setting up a fundraiser and getting ready to go when all of that, New York just came to a complete stop.
Ugh.
So we just had to cancel all that, and we've not revisited that yet. Everybody's still a little timid,
gun-shy,
and
yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay, because it'll come back when it's time.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, what an experience that would be.
Oh,
I mean,
yes. Yeah.
Broadway and.
We used to go, it's small enough, we used to take the dancers every December to a theater in Branson and perform before their Christmas show. So that was a really fun experience. We did that 3 or 4 years in a row, where we just would go down, do that, and then spend the afternoon at Silver Dollar City or something together. So it was we've done a lot of fun things over the years.
A lot of bonding. With
Oh, yeah.
How great. So do you teach adults as well?
I used to have an adult tap class, and for years we've had an adult jazz class, but we don't right now because we're so busy with children.
Oh, gotcha.
And it's interesting with adults, as you know, as moms, our stuff comes last.
Sure, always.
So
yeah.
we're like, we're gung ho, we're going to do it. 2 or 3 weeks gets in, then it comes the holidays and Christmas, and then everybody's sick, and then so it kind of falls apart. So from time to time we'll have little nights where like, hey, all the moms can come in and do this. We haven't done that since COVID, but we've had adults, and it's absolutely the most fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it funny to watch adults try to, like, can you teach somebody who just really has no rhythm? Like, can you teach somebody like that?
I call them movers.
Oh, okay.
So anyone can
Yeah.
dance. Now, I didn't say they could dance well.
Sure.
But anyone can dance.
Sure.
So that's fine. Yes.
And I'm sorry, husband, he's awesome, but he's not a dancer. Like, not at all. And I always tease him about it.
He can move. That's all that matters. Yes.
He does.
That's all that matters.
You know?
I always like to be around the person who's not a dancer but is dancing and then loving their
Yeah.
life. I'm like, I want to be at their party.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So the new Cornell Performing Arts Complex is
Yes.
supposed to open up this year.
Yes.
Are you guys, will there be any connection? Will you perform there? Have you discussed it?
I will look into it once it is open. We have talked about maybe doing small musical theater performances there, because right now we use the Joplin school system,
Sure.
and it would be really nice to have a smaller venue for our small musical theater performances that we put on. But and we're encouraging some of our former students, our graduates, to come back, and they're going to put a contemporary dance group together this summer. So it'd be really lovely for them to. That way they can raise some money for themselves to take back to college with them.
Wow.
And things like that. So it'll be really great for the community, and we have so many wonderful studios here and so many artists and so many music studios and so many theaters. I just was at Joplin Theater yesterday. So much talent and so many people who are so gracious in the arts, including, you know, a lot of us got our base here from Missouri Southern. So it's a really lovely community, and it'll be really nice to have the art and the theater housed in the same place, because I think we can find our roots again together. Yeah.
And I was amazed, like I said, talking to Connect to Culture, just about the sheer number of things that happen here.
And it'll be so nice because it'll be one location for them.
For sure.
So it will be the communicating with the public will be so much easier for them, that they don't have to, you know, take us all over the place to meet their needs, and it's going to be a really nice benefit to the community.
And so what motivates you to keep doing this? Because you've been doing it for a while.
I've been doing it for a long time. Honestly, I can't remember a time that I didn't have a song in my head, that I wasn't being overly dramatic about something. And I feel like I want to be the instructor, the person in that child's life, that if they need more than just a recreational dance class, that they want to do something bigger, that I'm there to help them. I want to be the teacher that we didn't have back then. Nobody knew I was going to be famous. You know, nobody knew about the star that I wanted to be. And so I try to pick out and pull those students aside and be like, you got a little something here. What can we, you know, what do you want to do with that? It's really, honestly, a calling. I'm terrible with computers, can't do other things, you know, but this is easy for me.
Yeah, so when somebody says they missed their calling in life, you're not one of them.
I'm not one of them. And it's a little different when your stress reliever becomes your stressor. So that's a little, so there's nowhere to go really, but it's honestly the most wonderful job in the world.
Well, I sure appreciate you coming and talking to us
I'm
about.
so grateful to be here. Thank you so much.
Welcome back home, I guess.
Hey, thank you. Yes.
I want to thank Heather Briley with Briley Performing Arts Company for joining us today. You can find out more about the classes offered by going to their Facebook page or their website, BrileyPerformingArts.com. This is Newsmakers on KGCS TV from the Ruth Copeland Studios here at Missouri Southern State University, and I'm Bobby Potroff. We'll see you again soon.
Join us for a multi-day homecoming celebration featuring world-renowned jazz musician, Joplin native Charles McPherson. On Friday, February 18th, enjoy an exclusive up-close and personal performance and catered meal. All proceeds will benefit the creation of a Black History mural in Joplin. On Saturday, February 19th, attend a free public performance with McPherson and his band in the historic Central Christian Center. Reservations are strongly recommended. Learn more, get tickets, and make reservations at connecttoculture.org.